Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? And today I wanted to talk briefly about the cult, or like the whole cult mentality that's been going on. And something we've been seeing recently, which has been going on within this whole fascist movement going on with the whole MAGA voters and extremists out there. And after some recent posting and discussions, I've gotten some similar blowback and everything like that. And make no mistake, it is a cult. Let's just be clear about that. I'm not an expert here. I just did a little researching on the whole cult mentality thing. I don't even fully understand it, to be honest with you. But from what I'm seeing, the patterns, the behavior, all the symptoms, it amounts to a cult where these people, these voters, these followers are just entirely devoted to this authoritarian leader. And no matter what he does, no matter what he gets implicated or arrested for, no matter what wrongdoing he commits, they just give him a pass every day. Everything from denial to making excuses to, finding whatever pivot they can to get off of it. I'll talk about some of those recent posts, but, just to give you a brief summary as far as the whole cult mentality goes, is that no one joins a cult. They're recruited by social influence and processes. Cults are usually destructive individuals, and they use deception and undue influence to make people dependent and obedient. Not all influence is bad. There's a difference between due and undue influence. And cult leaders are typically malignant narcissists and want people who will be obedient to them. There was a recent interview with Sarah Palin on Newsmax, and she summed it up beautifully. The only problem is she was talking about the left side, not the right. The way she phrased it as, it's a group of people who are excessively supporting one another at a cause all about conformity, compliance, and intolerance to anyone who doesn't agree with what their mission is. Some parts of that are just completely denying reality, facts, and science. Everything ranging from COVID to climate change to voter integrity. In our history, we've seen stuff like this before, the type of behavior in cults. Some of just to name a few, some of the famously known ones are Heaven's Gate. They believed in the whole end of the world and aliens, and they ended up in a mass suicide. There was the Manson family incident that killed at least 9 people, suspected to have killed 35, and Manson was never present during the murders, but he was the driving force behind it. Then you also had the famous one, which ended tragically, was the Waco, Texas incidents, where a David Koresh, he claimed to be a messiah, spoken to by God. He also believed in the whole end of the world scenario, and because of possible criminal charges, when law enforcement tried to catch him, it ended in a 51-day standoff, eventually, which led to a shootout and a fire that killed at least 77 people. It's not 100% clear who started the fire. Was it law enforcement or was it their cult leader? And has it gone to the point where there's like mass killings going on within the MAGA bunch? No. But we do see the constant acts of violence, the constant looking to blame someone, always trying to victimize something. At one point it was the, migrants coming across the border. They're out to get you. And Trump is the only one that can save you. He alone can save everyone and make America great again. He managed to just somehow tap into that group of people who, middle-class voters, and some of them are racist, some of them who've been struggling a lot, and, they connected with it. This, TV personality that they just aspire to. And because of misinformation and all that, their general thought was, he's rich, he's a billionaire, he can possibly lead. And I've talked about this before, where the two have nothing to do with each other, okay? And the one thing that's pretty obvious is that the vast majority of what Trump does is for himself. He always claims he's doing it about the people, through all these rallies. He always says the right things to get them triggered, to find someone to blame. In this case with the indictments, it's, pivot to Hillary Clinton, lock him up, defund the FBI, the unfair justice system. I think it was a year back, where at one of the CPAC events, they had this cheesy looking golden statue of Donald Trump. Not like a life-size replica or everything, this rather goofy cartoonish looking thing which was absolutely absurd, and yet some people, a lot of them are religious folks, don't really see the irony, how, like, they're all about God and Jesus and everything, and yet they're worshiping this statue, taking pictures with it. Did you forget about the golden calf? And like I said, some friends of mine, people who responded to some of my videos, have regurgitated a lot of the same talking points we hear from Trump, especially now, since he lost the election, which he still lies and denies, and a lot of these cult followers still buy into that. The country's in jeopardy, our economy is crumbling, all these bad things are happening. If we don't get Trump in office soon, it's going to be World War III with either China, Russia, or both. And yet there's no indication of any of that. But it doesn't matter, they buy into that. And part of the cult mentality is just, as I said before, complete deny of reality. That's why they continue to buy into the whole voter fraud thing. And the acts of violence, all too common, which we see at numerous Trump rallies, and say nothing about January 6th. And that's another thing where they come back to me and say, it's like, it's not the right that's violent, it's the left that's violent. Yeah, you might be able to find a handful of isolated incidents, from people on the left, and I don't accept violence of any kind. Okay, I always say that shouldn't be peaceful protests and accountability for those who do break the law. But in their point of view, it's all one side, not the other. January 6th, someone else is to blame. It wasn't Trump, it was Nancy Pelosi. It wasn't Trump supporters, it was Antifa. It was Black Lives Matter. At the indictment hearing they did in Miami, there were protesters there on behalf of Trump. And upon interviewing, you just saw the same mentality that's drawn into it, where it's like they talk about the indictments and everything. A lot of them didn't even read it. I browsed through and looked at some of the parts of it, and from what I heard through independent media, they're like, oh no, the indictment doesn't make a difference. You're going to indict a bologna sandwich, so Trump is innocent. They showed some of the pictures that were taken. The pictures are fake, this and that. That's the whole pattern we're seeing. It doesn't matter what you show them. It doesn't matter what facts. It doesn't matter what logic. I can point out every hypocrisy out there, and some of them just responded to say, again, it's not Trump. It's not them. It's the left. They're the cults. To which, with one friend, I used the phrase, like Pee Wee Herman would say, I know you are, but what am I? Just pivot it back. And I got criticized for making a reference towards him, given his questionable past, and yet these people are in support of somebody who, not too long ago, was found liable for sexual assault and defamation, and has several other accusations in the past for, sexual abuse. But hey, they don't see the irony there. To them, it's Trump is innocent. Trump is the one that can save them. You have these rallies where there is just a ton of all this memorabilia, all these flags. People decorate their houses like that. And I never would have imagined an incident whereby that one person could have such a great influence on a whole group of people. That group has slowly been dwindling. They're not the majority. But the fact that it's so many that such a portion of this country would still support him if he's convicted, which some have pledged they would do. They've interviewed some Republican voters where they say, some actually believe, yeah, Trump kind of broke the law with his documents, everything, but it doesn't matter. I'd still support him. I'd still vote for him. But what if he's convicted? And from what I hear, there's nothing in the Constitution to prevent him from running again. That wouldn't probably stop his campaign. I would imagine there's got to be something. But even if assuming there wasn't, these cult members would still follow him. They'd still vote for him. So you'd be okay with a convicted felon in charge of the country? And the answer to a lot of them is yes. And for the life of me, I cannot wrap my head around it. For me personally, it hasn't hit that close to home. I've had some old acquaintances from social media just shut me out. They say I don't like your videos, I don't like you, and you question our leader too much, this and that. Again, the usual denial, pivot, whataboutism, the Problem's not us. The problem is with you. You know, some of those I can brush off. I've had some family members say, like, we're not going to listen to your stuff anymore. Nothing personal. I mean, again, people got to do what they got to do. I get it. However, I don't get the whole belief system. And I've talked about this before as far as presidents come and go. Trump's not sent by God. He's not holy. He's not some evangelical person. He is just an ordinary person. He's going to grow old and die. And this country, the United States, will continue to prosper in some shape or form. So, I don't think this whole cult thing is ever going to break. That some of these people, could they ever be deprogrammed? Possibly. I'm no expert, so I really don't know how to resolve that. And there are just some people that you're never really going to get through to. No matter what, they're going to devote themselves to Trump each and every single time. They're going to keep regurgitating his talking points, which, you know, were some of the things I just said before, and that's never going to change. No matter what. Doesn't matter how despicable he acts, they're always going to be there to support him. So, maybe down the road this could serve as some sort of history lesson, some type of learning lesson. But as long as we have a GOP that continues to cower towards this person, you know, it's not really going to change. The only hope is that he does get convicted, and they do find a way to say that disqualifies you from running for president. You know, maybe he'll do some jail time, maybe he won't. As far as the trial goes, as I said, I don't want to speculate on that, but I only hope it does it in the bare minimum. It hurts him in a way that it just totally obliterates his political career. Is that going to stop him from trying to, you know, peddle things towards people on social media and on his like silly little True Social platform? No, not at all. He's going to continue to speak out, and a lot of these people are going to continue to support him, even if he isn't a presidential candidate. All he has to do is put out some post. It's called Restore America, Restore Trump, or whatever. He'll call it whatever he wants, and make a donation today to help support this cause. And these cult followers will do it without question, without hesitation. And that's pretty unsettling, because I've heard of some instances, people, and I'm not talking about billionaires or corporations or, you know, the wealthy class. I'm talking about the working class, or people who are poor and struggling, and yet they send large sums of money to this guy. One person went as far as to mortgage his house. Why would you put yourself and your life in considerable debt or jeopardy to support a billionaire? Again, I really can't wrap my head around this, so I can only hope that these legal woes do catch up and get the better of him, that it does derail his career. Because that's pretty much the only way you're going to stop him. And as far as the sycophants that support him without pause or condition, just vote them out, okay? This video is not designed for the MAGA crowd. You know, the cult members are going to watch this, and like, I can imagine what their responses is going to be. This video is intended more for the voters that are on the fence, or the younger voters that are coming of age where they can get registered in time for the 2024 election. Get registered, get involved, get out and vote. And let's vote this fascism out. Let's put this cult leader in his place, because the MAGA crowd isn't going to let him go. So it's up to us, the people that see past all his lies, you know, look at the logic and see just how flawed it is, and say, we don't want an authoritarian ruling our country. We do not want fascism in America. Okay? We want our democracy. We don't believe in January 6th. We believe in the American people and not one person. So, now this is the part where some of you bring up the Biden crime family, or, you know, call me woke. It's okay, I can take it. Anyhow, just want to say thank you for watching. Please get ready to vote and get involved. I really hope you understand.